busy is such a relative term because you can be busy in one aspect of life and then that busy to somebody else who has 3 kids is like, you're not busy. You're just not managing your time.
Everyone's busy in their own way.
Yes.
Yeah. We're your hosts, Sahara Embry
and Michaela Bedoyan. From working corporate 9-to-5s to running $1 million companies,
we're bringing you the inside scoop of what it takes to start and scale your business.
We're keeping things real, raw, and unfiltered. This is the Rise and Refine podcast.
Welcome back. Happy Monday. Where's your mic?
Okay, restart. Well, we are here. Happy Monday. Welcome back to the Rise and Refine podcast. Good morning. Hope you're having a great start to the day so far. We're going to keep this one really short and sweet because we've talked about it a lot, but we're just really going to drive it home. So pretty much, have you ever sat down to do something important and you have just gotten off track and you're like, wait, I think I need to go fold that load of laundry, or I need to go reorganize this closet, or I need to start putting out my fall sweaters, whatever it might be. This episode is not about strategy at all. No. It's about showing up for yourself, especially when no one is watching you and no one is holding you accountable.
Yeah. Discipline and avoidance.
Yes.
Right. Very, very good. Really discipline versus avoidance. It's a huge thing, especially for all of you business owners, entrepreneurs, CEOs, and leaders. A lot of times we're responsible for holding ourselves accountable. We don't have anyone who's like, no, get that done. If you're letting your mind go off and trying to avoid things, you've got to be self-disciplined to get shit done.
And even as business partners, there's certain things that Sahara and we hold each other accountable to, but it's more broad scale. It's not the nitty gritty details of every single day. Like Sahara is not over me every single day, making sure I get out client deliverables. I'm not over her, making sure that she, updates the process accordingly or is setting up a new software appropriately. Like we just trust each other to get that done. So showing up for yourself in those more mundane moments in the everyday. And so some of the signs to look for to know that you're avoiding doing the hard work. And it's not always about like sitting there watching a Netflix, like putting on a Netflix show and running through a laundry list of to-dos. It looks like checking tasks off that don't actually move the needle when you're just avoiding doing the hard
that
thing.
Will move the needle that you don't want to do.
Yes. Making another Canva graphic and for your social media instead of just hitting post on Instagram.
Yeah, 100%.
Rewriting your sales page for the 5th time. I know I'm guilty of this. Our website isn't even fully published yet.
This episode was really all about Michaela having a therapy session.
It really is. Okay, so here are just I need to confess and get this off my chest. And then staying quote unquote busy instead of being brave and just doing the hard thing.
Yeah. Discipline is about doing the things you don't want to do that are uncomfortable at the end of the day. And discipline is about being consistent within your business, with yourself, and holding yourself accountable. And it's very, very, very hard to do. A lot of people lack self-discipline, and that's okay. But if you are somebody who's not naturally a very disciplined person, just being self-aware as a business owner is very, very important. And sometimes the hard thing to do is forcing yourself to doing the things you don't want to do and just being disciplined and having somebody hold you accountable with it.
I was listening to a podcast episode, a different podcast outside of ours the other day, and I forget who said it, so my apologies. But they said this quote, and I want to make sure I get it right. Avoidance often wears the costume of productivity. And it hit home for me because we've talked about saying busy. We're so busy. I'm too busy. Busy is such a relative term to the point where I've just had to refrain from saying I'm busy constantly, because you can be busy in one aspect of life and then that busy to somebody else who has 3 kids is like, you're not busy. You're just not managing your time.
Everyone's busy in their own way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so understanding what moves the needle, or if you've just become addicted to being busy.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think people use the term where they make themselves busy so that they can avoid the thing they need to get done that they haven't gotten done. For example, taxes.
Yeah.
Right? Like you
Oh
don't
my gosh,
actually
I'm
want
guilty of
to,
this.
yes, I'm so guilty of this too. You don't actually want to sit there and do numbers all day long, but it's important for your business. You have to discipline. Like last week, that was me. I disciplined myself and said, you are sitting in this conference room. You can ask my team. I took off my shoes. I sat in our conference room
Yeah.
and I got that shit done.
Yeah.
And it's so important. Well, not all the way done yet, but
Yes,
mostly done,
mostly
right?
done, right?
And I disciplined myself to stay and get it done and to stop avoiding it because I kept making up excuses like, well, I got to work on this in my business. I got to do this in my business. And I kept avoiding it.
And it all starts with discipline. And discipline just doesn't happen overnight in something. It comes from building small, actionable habits that you've stayed consistent in over a period of time. That is what builds discipline. And so, really looking at your schedule, looking at how you're managing your time, and redefining that not necessarily as a restriction or a punishment, but holding yourself to a higher standard, a higher standard of
100%.
excellence.
You
It's
can't
about
just wake
having
up tomorrow
integrity.
though, and you can't just wake up tomorrow and say, okay, I'm going to be disciplined today.
Yeah.
It takes work and it takes time and it takes knowing what discipline means to you
Yeah.
and what that looks like. And I think discipline is looked at as a bad term to use sometimes.
Right.
Like, no, it's great for business
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
owners.
it's not a form of punishment.
Yeah.
It's all about having integrity. It's like, you say you're going to do something, do it.
Yes.
Quit making
It's your
excuses for it.
words.
Yes.
Yes.
At the end of the day, it's also you're building a business. That business has to be profitable for you to survive in this climate.
Yes.
If you're constantly coming up with excuses on why you're not doing something, then you're
always going to
feeding
make those
yourself
excuses.
that.
You're always
Yes.
going to.
You're
And
going
you
to
don't-
create a habit
yeah.
of excuses
Yes.
and a habit of just throwing nonsense out there. It's like, hold yourself to a higher standard.
100%. And we're not just talking to business owners too, because you can be a very disciplined employee in terms of not always needing your boss to tell you to get something done and reminding you.
Right.
Like if you want those raises, if you want to climb that ladder, if you want to keep growing and get that stuff done, then show up and be self-disciplined and write things down, remember things well, and be proactive.
And there's so much out there, and we just always go back to a morning routine because I genuinely used to think that, you needed to wake up and have this extensive 2-hour morning routine to be successful. There's been so many very successful business owners, CEOs of very high level companies coming out and saying, my morning routine is 15 minutes. I like to, roll over, kiss my wife, kiss my husband, whatever it is, and lay in bed for 5 minutes and just have alone time, not talking to anybody, just having a second for me and then getting up and giving myself to everybody for the rest of the day. If that is your routine and you're disciplined in that, great. If you're on the flip side of that and you're like, nope, I wake up at 6 a.m. I have, my greens, I get my protein in, I go to the gym, I come home, I get dressed, I have my coffee, I sit down, I do my gratitude. Like you can have, it can be as extensive as you want, as long as you're staying consistent in that habit, and that creates the discipline in having that morning routine. So that way you're setting yourself up for your day to where you're going to have a more productive day because you're starting with that discipline.
Yeah, 100%.
always
Discipline
goes back
looks
to it.
different for everyone as long as you're not avoiding the things that are hard.
It's a muscle.
Yeah.
You're training a muscle consistently.
Yeah.
In your brain, in just the way that you're moving, the way that you're shaking throughout the day. Talk about how accountability actually changes the outcome of something. So I know that you have a huge team of agents.
Yes.
So coaching them, you're literally about to go start with role playing with them.
Yes.
So like, how does that accountability help them grow and to their desired outcome?
Sometimes I think accountability is just being reminded the things you already know.
Yeah.
With discipline, especially, it's like, I already know I have to make those calls. I've been avoiding it, but I needed to hear it from somebody else to be reminded of that, right? That's a lot of accountability and coaching. And just also a lot of coaching and accountability is bringing you back in, like saying, like, we could use you as example and say, okay, like, you don't have to have the perfect portfolio pages or the perfect copy for that page. Like, put it out there, just get it done and perfect it later on. And that's discipline, is just getting it done and not avoiding it, even though it's not going to be perfect.
Right.
And wheeling people back into what they know, but making sure you remind them to have the mindset to look at that and stop avoiding it. And it's okay. I want to say this. Accountability is not a bad thing.
No.
All right. Accountability in a healthy way is a great thing. And so many people look at because
so many people look at accountability as criticism.
they do, and it's not. It's not at all. Like, if there is some accountability out there where you've got the wrong leader and they do it in the wrong way. But if you surround yourself with great leaders and great people, and you allow them to hold you accountable in a great way, it can really move you as a person and help you accomplish more things if you just listen.
Well, and a lot of times too, when somebody's holding you accountable, they typically see the greatness that is inside of you, and they're just trying to pull it out of you. It might not be in a way that you necessarily receive. And if that's the case, communicate with that person.
Yes.
Don't just take offense, because as soon as you take offense, you're putting up blinders to your potential.
Yes, 100%. I think part of discipline is allowing yourself to be held accountable.
Most definitely.
So it's just a great
about
reminder.
coachability.
Yes, 100%. Like those who when people are interviewing with us or we're talking to them, we can hear things in an interview if they seem very closed-minded to learning.
Yeah.
We're like, you're probably not very disciplined then, because if we say, hey, you got to do this, this, and this to be successful this week, you're probably not going to do it because you're closed-minded.
Yeah.
There's so many things about it. And so start looking at the word accountability, the word discipline as positive words that can impact you and your business, and not as a negative word.
Yeah. I want to touch on a couple examples of just us overcoming avoidance to make it more relatable.
Yeah.
So one of them is delaying our podcast launch, or like relaunching our podcast.
Yeah.
Because we didn't do the legwork up front when we launched this podcast.
Yes, 100%.
So we got totally burnt out. We had overspent just emotional energy. We were taxed, all that stuff. And then we had to pause everything, reevaluate, go do the legwork then, and then come back.
Yes. To make it more. And now it's more disciplined too, because it was like, okay, your hands are too much in this pot here.
Yes.
And then my hands are too much here. You need to do this and let me do this. And we are both held accountable for that. And it's much more structured now.
Most definitely.
So sometimes it's just having that self-aware conversation and making those decisions of does this need to look like, and how do we adjust?
And Sahara took accountability for the podcast.
Yes.
She saw that I didn't have the bandwidth to do some of the extra tasks that were related to it. And so she was like, I'm going to take the podcast off your plate. I'm going to do this with our assistant. And they have fully taken and ran with it, so that when I show up to shoot these podcast episodes here in Huntsville, coming from Atlanta, Georgia, I know that there's a schedule. Everything is in place. We have our videographer here. Everything is set up so that way we can do it to the best of our ability. We've prepped, we've planned, we've done everything that's necessary to set ourselves up for success.
Yeah. And you've gotten way better too, because we kept telling you, like, stop watching it over and over. Don't make all those small cuts.
Exactly.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you had to also like discipline yourself to stop being a perfectionist with it. So
yeah, I had to overcome a lot of that. But this doesn't always mean, something with a big launch. It can just be feeling that resistance to showing up during a hard season of life.
Yeah.
It's like you're going through it. You've had X, Y, and Z hit you all at the same time. Choosing to just show up for you, show up for your business, gain a little bit of your own self-respect, and just trying to take and make yourself that 1% better, whether that is putting yourself outside your comfort zone and shaking a hand that you wouldn't normally shake, or maybe it's cold pitching yourself to someone, putting on a podcast. It's as simple as putting on a podcast, listening to an audio, picking up a book and reading about a topic that you want to learn more about, making yourself that 1% better. And even going back to one that we've seen here recently is just having those difficult conversations about that next step in business. With Refine specifically, we're at a point where we could be comfortable or we could scale. Yeah. And we've chosen to scale, and it's come with a lot of money talk, a lot of budget talk. How can we make this happen? What are we going to need to sacrifice? Whether that's with money, whether that's with time, whether that's with resources, what does that look like for us? And so having those hard conversations now when it's necessary, rather than putting them off and just going ahead, getting over it, not avoiding having these conversations, where that we can actually get to the goals that we want to get to, because we did avoid these conversations earlier on in year 1 and 2.
We kept saying we're just getting like tied up with client work, It's like, No, we put it on the schedule. We said, we're going to do it. We're going to commit. We're going to show up. Here's what's going to happen.
We're going to get it done.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes with, for us, it's with passive income. We haven't been able to do that yet. And that's what we've been avoiding. And so being disciplined in our calendars, in our time, managing it better.
No more excuses.
No more excuses. So I want to leave you with this. And I've, again, heard it on that same podcast. I wish I would have not jotted it down.
You'll have to, if you go back and find it, we'll try to put it in the description.
I know. But it said this: avoidance might feel safe, but discipline is what builds the life you actually want to live.
That's so good.
I was like, oh, dagger to the heart. Needed to hear that.
That's really good. I love that.
So I want to leave you guys with this. What's one thing that you've been avoiding lately, whether it's big or small? Send it to us. Send us in a DM. We'd love to hear from you. And then what's one habit that you're committing to for this week and this week alone? Okay, what just one habit that you want to start to
just
change?
this week. Start with one thing.
Small baby steps, right? What's one thing that you want to commit to this week that you want to change to get that 1% better?
Yeah, 100%. All right, we'll leave you with that.
And if you like this episode, please like and subscribe to us. You can leave us a comment, leave us a review, or you can DM us over at Rise and Refine Podcast. You can check out our brand and web design studio over at Refine Marketing _. We hope that y'all love this podcast and have a great week. Happy Monday.
See you next Monday.